Hello and welcome everybody to episode 4 of BBC News on BBC Radio. This is a coronation special, so Christoph, you should also listen to like the first 3 minutes of this because I want a special song for this in case, unless of course we get a copyright strike, then I'll have to take it down. But say hi, Christoph.
Hello, it's good to be back. I mean, it hasn't been that long, but
About a month.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Christoph's resignation will be posted tomorrow as Prime Minister.
Not yet. I hope not yet.
Yeah. So
Unless the public will send me off to the tower.
Yeah. All right. So we got an action-packed day. It's been a long, fun week again. Let's see. We've had the coronation, the budget passed, and a bunch of other stuff. So we'll start off with the budget, which, in the absence of Elisha not being around to vote to end the 48-hour period, it's passed. So.
Oh, thank God.
And The Age also had an interesting article on it as well. So, Christoph, commentary on either or?
I'm, as I said to The Age, I'm really happy that we could bring this budget to the House of Commons. We've worked pretty good while on it, and it seemed like other MPs were satisfied with it as well. I think the member for Bleno Gwent had a bit of a questioner to you, but in the end, we could satisfy her curiosity as well. Yeah.
Just to clarify something that The Age posted in their newsletter, I am treating the Chief Judge's office separate from that of just Judge, the senior and junior judge, Killian and Rubin. So the Chief Judge will earn a monthly salary but will not be paid per case. So there's that, but otherwise, The Age wrote an excellent article.
Yeah, we intended to keep the practice of previous budgets to keep the Chief Judge's salary as a fix and not put the cases next to it. But yeah, pretty happy to have my commentary in the budget. I mean in the Age newspaper. So thank you, Ulrich.
Yeah. Otherwise, I can probably anticipate. The surplus says 400 and something pounds. Probably winds up at like 5,000, 5 to 10,000 or so. What you think, Christoph?
We will have a pretty good first week, but then we'll see how our economic programs will turn out. But yeah, finally glad that that's over.
Yep. The other things the Treasury is up to for you business owners, I've posted up your inactivity notices. If you have any questions or comments about it, come to me or Klaus. We'll be happy to hash it out for you.
Yep.
Now moving along, the government kept ties with Portugal. Christoph, why don't you walk us through that process, at least as far as you can without committing espionage?
Well, as I have said in the official announcement, we've received pretty alarming evidence that I've brought to the Foreign Advisory Council, and after much deliberation that night and a marathon meeting with their vice delegate and their foreign minister, we have decided to end our diplomatic relations. Sadly, because it's never a good thing when you have to sever ties with one of your then allies. But again, if you see such concerning signs as putting up very questionable sentences in your Discord questionnaire, then I think it's better that we part ways.
Will the public ever be shown the evidence?
There is still up for discussion, but
Okay.
I mean, the evidence was posted publicly.
NSGP, right?
I think we've got a dossier from
I think
somewhere.
JLW mentioned he found it originally in NSGP or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huh.
So I think the evidence is public. So far as we also that was the page that we have seen.
Well, everybody, so if you want to see it, I mean, unless the NS mods have acted on it, I mean, you could probably go find it in NSGP. I'm sure that thread is probably still on fire. So,
Oh, for sure.
yeah. So
Pretty
many,
unfortunate, but we hope that they can also learn from this in the future.
right? So, quite a few years ago, I was a lieutenant in the region known as Den. It was old, famous Raider region. I'm not sure if you ever heard of them, Christoph.
No, not
But
really. I'm still quite new.
we let's see. It was eventually the region was eventually deleted by the mods for some pretty serious violations of their of some in-game rules regarding their predator rating tool, which I never had access to. I had access to something much less efficient due to my rank. So, but which that also resulted in quite a few players being banned or even DOSed, as well as puppet swept. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is, let's see. So I decided that I would, I went undercover in Portugal, which at the time had a password, I believe. But through some contacts of mine, I obtained the password and snuck myself in. And then for 4 months, and this puppet was in the WA. And so for 4 months, I Indo-charted, but also endeared myself to the local population using Google Translate to speak in Portuguese with them. And then after about 4 months, 4-ish months, Den assembled a host of other regions, which wound up being a total of 40 to 50 soldiers. We shared the password to the region around because it hadn't been changed, and we raided them.
Wow. And they haven't discovered you for that 4 months? I mean,
right.
Google Translate is not the most reliable source of translation.
Well, if you're confident in your password, you're not going to be looking for anything because you don't think there's anything to look for. Right?
Wow.
So, and then afterwards, we occupied it for quite a while. Probably about a month we occupied them. The band ejected a bunch of people, messed up the RMB, messed up the WFE, the flag, trolled the RMB, whatever. We were raiders, right? We didn't have the rules that UK has in the armed forces. We burned it. But we ultimately decided against completely destroying the region because that is quite an old region.
Mm-hmm.
There were some very high influence nations in there that would have taken 6 months to a year for us to obtain the influence to banject them out of the region.
Well, the diversity of nation-states.
Yeah.
That is quite interesting to hear.
Yeah. Alright, so moving right along. The UKAF and Pine drama finally has a resolution after some pressuring. But, yeah. So, John Spencer Telegram, the Chief of the General Staff, finally made public why Pine was denied entry into the UKAF.
Yeah, well, the details in that letter, which was issued by the Chief and the Vice Chief of the General Staff, has been well known within the UKF and indeed in the
General
off-site citizens well, so we already knew these kind of stuffs who were here in the earlier part of 2023. We've heard these sentences from Pine, but I mean, this was a nicer way of dealing with the matter. I've been in the general staff for that last part of that review, so it's best that they have published this letter, and now it's quite clear for everyone, even for those who weren't here in that time, so they can see clearly in a list the things that the UKF thinks about the risk that Pine's application and exception into the UKF would bring.
Right. I mean, it's a well-founded document posted by JST for sure.
I mean,
It's all true. It's all true.
Yeah, and aside from a couple of extreme cases, no one would be so reluctantly denied if it wasn't for a good reason. So everyone can see the very real concerns now in that public letter.
Right. So, yeah. Well, hopefully he hasn't mentioned it, Pine. He hasn't hollered about it since then. I'm guessing because
Not much.
I'm guessing because he knows he doesn't have a leg to stand on anymore.
Yeah. Well, I hope that he really tries to look at himself and try to. At least I know he has a certain set of values that he wouldn't like to change, and there's no problem with that. But until he makes such extreme comments about the very integrity of the region, I don't think much is going to change.
All right. Okay. Well, moving along. Court has been busy. Believe it or not, it's been a ruling in both cases before the court. So Steps v. Sebastian, and then Lucas Stewart versus the BBC et al. Steps v. Sebastian was ruled in His Majesty's government favor, and Chief Judge Pro Tempore Constance St. James ruled granting Lucas Stewart's request for an appeal.
Yeah, well, first off, I just have to say I was terrified when I first saw the updated court case, because I wasn't expecting my name to appear on the Crown Court, but yeah, it was later clarified for me that it was, since we have a Steps versus Her Majesty's government, or His Majesty's government was back then, so it was best decided if we could separate those cases by writing my name onto it. So cool, I guess.
You're a little piece of history. And continuing Silver Steps' losing streak in court, believe it or not.
Well, I didn't have that much part in it, so all my gratitude goes out to our attorney, Mayim, because she has done an awesome work despite the changes in government. So I am glad that she represented us in there.
Right.
But now all things are clear around the Citizenship Act. That's one.
Yes. The act can be enforced. Yeah, case against me.
As for you guys in the BBC, it's gonna be a long court process again.
Yeah, but if there's anything that can be taken away from either case, is that just because you posted, 4 to 10,000 words does not mean you're gonna win.
Yeah, and pretty good arguments have been raised, so we'll see how it turns out. I could mostly agree with initial judgment that there is more to this case than it first meets the eye, but we'll see how it turns out. The court has ruled in a certain way. Now the panel is going to decide.
Yeah. Obviously, there's not a lot I can say personally because I'm a party. However, I honestly think this case comes down to how deeply this region believes in freedom of both the press and speech. Truly.
And myself personally, and the government is also interested to see the results.
Oh, yeah?
Of course, as well as the BBC is an independent agency of the government, not really in an internal way are we interested, but rather as an outside onlooker.
Right. Alright, well, moving along. The House of Commons has been busy, most notably replacing the Speaker. The Honourable Member for Blanau Glent, wow, holy crap, okay. Yeah, Mayhem, and I'm not going to try to say that last name, is now the new Speaker of the House.
Yeah, it's been quite some time that we had a female speaker at the helm.
More importantly, it's been a while since we've had to kick somebody out of the role of Speaker.
Oh, yeah. Well, Lucia has done a great job over the last term and did fairly well in the first few weeks of this term. But since he has gone on a break, which we all understood quite well, but it has gone on for too long and we've had some continuity issues within the House of Commons. William tried to keep the ship from sinking, but there was a point that we had to just act because the situation was quite unstable. So it was a very quick solution to the problem we had.
Well, let's see. In 2 weeks. What is 2 weeks? I mean, he's supposed to be back on Tuesday? The 22nd?
I can't remember that well.
Looking back on his LOA notice posted on the 8th of August, which was a Tuesday, he said he would be gone for 2 weeks.
Well, then it checks out, yeah. But I am glad that we could just resolve this matter quickly and without much trouble. I hope Lucius is okay, and I hope he comes back to the chamber with the activity and the passion that he had before.
Yeah,
I wish mine the best of luck.
Yeah. Oh boy. Going back to the budget, I didn't notice this, but Lucas responded to my notice to the speaker. I lost it. There it is. This is 6 days ago, but it got buried. He said there's an open question as to whether it's required or allowed by law, the notice that I hopefully he doesn't try to turn this into drama because he's, mad.
I don't think so, but I hope I don't think so. Well, maybe it's just an ambiguity in the law, but we have decided it's best that we notify the speaker just in case, so there is no confusion or drama later on if we would have decided not to put out a notice. So yeah, this was just a safe bet, a safe decision.
Well, so Article 4, Provision 2, Subprovision A, should His Majesty's Treasury require changes to the budget terms in between the specified period, they may notify the Speaker of the House of their intention to deliver an emergency budget with 2 days' notice. So.
Okay, so may or may not. So it's probably more like allowed by law if we go
It's
by
the
the
polite
guess of
thing to do.
Lucas. But it's still better to notify them a house than to just put the budget in front of them and then be like, well, we're done.
Yeah. Other parliamentary activities, so not related to the budget or the speaker, the TRA Act Amendment 3 has passed and now sits in Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, that was the part that was most debated in the last few weeks.
Tell me about it.
Well, it's a provision that would compel the Treasury to put out a budget in front of the House of Commons within 14 days of the election, and if the House couldn't decide on it or disapproves with the budget, then I think that was the original part, was that to remove the Chancellor, motion to vote on the removal of the Chancellor, but that was then later separated into another legislation. I think that was TRA Amendment 4, I believe.
Right. And I'm personally thinking about an Amendment 5, but, that's still in the planning stages. I'm thinking about writing a proposal to eliminate the need to for businesses to have a thread count limit, because, based on the business, 1 to 2 threads may do them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
so
I was reading the law when I was doing all of my notices, and it says I can set more stringent requirements, but I cannot relax them. So at this time, I just have to follow the law.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, and then there's this new Security Exchanges and Commissions Act that Mayhem posted 3 days ago.
Oh, yep.
It looks like it's going to be a lot of work.
I had little time to read through it. We have discussed it within Labour and Cooperative Party. It's a very elaborate piece of legislation to sort of bring back the stock market in a way.
The plugin is still there. I don't know how much it works, but
it was shut down, I think, a year or so ago because there wasn't much activity within the stock market, and there were not many businesses to buy stocks from. So that was a pretty unstable situation there, which was resolved by shutting down the stock market. It's still up in the air as to it's now a viable option or not.
There's a few businesses I could see that would potentially be valuable enough to take advantage of this. The Age, they do great work in the media space. Orantius Chambers. What was Lucas's business name again? They do good work too. Everyday Productions. They do good work over in Everyday Productions.
Newton is also could be up there.
Yeah.
House's business.
I could see Pine trying to take UKRN, though. I don't know if it would work, but...
So there are quite a few businesses that could work.
Yeah.
Well, if it's going to work in the long term, then it's for the benefit of the region. But I just hope it doesn't sink as fast as it comes.
Right. I'm not looking forward to having to do this work, let me tell you. But if Parliament tells me to do it I shall.
I will later comment on it. We are recording this on the 20th of August, so I think I'm going to respond to the House this evening, now that I'm back from my real-life duties.
Right. Let's see, something else. Let's see, the constitutional amendment on cabinet officers has passed.
Yep, and it's now up to the public referendum.
At the next
I
general,
think.
right?
Yep, I think that's what the election regulation says, or
Right.
maybe the Constitution says it.
One of the two.
I'm not.
I think the
Sure.
Constitution. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Basically,
if
this allows Parliament a bit more say into the structure of the cabinet, which is once again proving the parliamentary supremacy that a few people actually campaigned against and a few people acted for, and the latter has prevailed. So
Alright, so if let's say this were in effect when you got elected, can you walk us through how this would have changed how you formed your government?
It may change the number of cabinet offices that are required by law. So how I discussed it with fellow MPs is that Parliament could now set a number of cabinet offices and departments in stone. So the one where the Culture Office was abolished by the Lucas Stewart Premiership would not happen, for example, if Parliament decides to keep the Culture Office as a mandatory office of His Majesty's government.
Do you think this was done in response to that? Because the Culture Office was obviously clamored for to come back, I think.
Well, that could be one smaller aspect, but
Right.
it could or could not be. I'm not sure. But the sentiment behind this was, as I've said before, saying or declaring parliamentary supremacy in this way over the government.
It also keeps the Prime Minister from going off rails and doing away with the Home Secretary or something. Something that we absolutely need.
Yeah, it still keeps a sense of stability and continuity, while still giving the Prime Minister enough wiggle room to
maneuver,
create additional offices.
This also, I think, technically allows Parliament to mandate my office, which it has already done.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I guess technically Parliament didn't have the authority to mandate that the Chancellor of the Exchequer existed, even though it had already done that.
Yeah, and technically that could have happened to fuse the Treasury with another office.
Right.
It would have been weird, but, well, someone could have theoretically done it.
Right. Alright. So the coronation is on. It has been one hell of a party. I believe you are involved in the planning process as Lord Chamberlain and Prime Minister, right?
Yeah, the coronation committee was working really hard on this weekend, and we still have a couple of things to come as the recording of this this session. So yeah, it's been pretty fun to do it.
Yes, it has been. We're looking at about, let's see, and financially wise, we have raised a few £1,000 on coins.
Yep, I've bought a couple of them as well, just to stack up in my basement and give away on good days.
Right.
We have sold. To someone.
Just looking at the Royal Bank account, we have sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, We sold 5. 5 coins is what I've received deposits for.
Interesting, because if memory serves me correctly, and now it's going to be public, I think I've bought 10 of them.
Jesus Christ, Christo.
Well, it's still going to be plenty more than what I would have paid in taxes, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's all gains now, so you'll definitely fall a tax bracket or two. When did you okay, we can talk about this later. But yeah, keep participating, everybody. The king definitely knows how to throw a party.
Plenty of games to follow.
Yes, and a lottery to participate in with a pretty decent looking prize pool. I think. What's it up to? 1,600.
The king.
The lottery prize pool's up to like £1,650, something like that.
Ooh,
Let me
that
see.
could be a pretty good sum of money for anyone.
It could be. Let me go double check that number. And the culture office. Yep, that's correct. As of 21 hours ago, which was the last time he provided an update. I mean, I've got 5 tickets of my own, so
I still have to buy some, but I'm still gonna participate.
You're running out of time, sir.
After have recorded this, I'm heading straight to the culture office to buy my tickets.
Well, yeah. All right. Cool. And we've actually segued perfectly into our last topic of the day, which is other cultural events. You immediately made splash upon being elected and reformed the culture office, which has definitely come back with a bang. Richard has done a great job.
I'm glad that Richard could continue his work. I wanted to see, when I appointed him to continue in the culture office, I wanted to see what he could provide on a long-term basis, and it turns out he is quite enthusiastic.
Yeah, I could definitely see him being quite a popular pick for future prime ministers.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, let's see. Budget, Portugal. Yeah, I think we actually got through everything today in 32 minutes. That's amazing. It took me and Klaus an hour last week.
Ew.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the sun and I'm quite sweaty, so I actually might have to shower after this one.
Alright. I don't think any of us needed to know that, but alright.
Okay, I just try to hide the fact that I'm nervous in these recordings.
Well, you know, we'll add one more on there. LCO, the Labor and Cooperative Party. Definitely in a good spot. Did you, as its leader, I'm just a lowly line member, did you anticipate such a rapid revival of the party whenever, I guess, the Aaron premiership began?
Well, as many will already know, this party has been a very big project of mine ever since I got the leadership about a year ago. And in the last few months, I would say, we have boosted our membership numbers. We are currently at 9 active members, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we are, if memory serves me correctly, the second biggest party.
Besides us,
I think in tie with Stag, if they have accepted another member. But yeah, basically, we have a bunch of active and passionate members. We are planning to do quite a lot of new stuff. And yeah, we are planning to come up with a much more detailed manifesto than what we have currently on our page. We are starting to work on building out an internal structure. So yeah, lots of stuff happening. We have few MPs in the House. We have 10 Downing at the moment. Now we have the speakership. So yeah, we have
And the mayorship
quite
of
a
Windsor.
boost. And the mayorship of Windsor now with the recent join of Ulrich Borheim. We are quite happy at our position at the moment, and we could only hope that we can boost this further down the line and keep it on a long-term upwards trend.
Yeah, well, it's good. So last week we had Klaus on, and he spoke a little bit in his capacity as more or less founder of SF. This week, Christoph, and he's both prime minister and the leader of Labor and Cooperative. So look forward to me over the next week or two, depending on scheduling. Me trying to get Lucas Stewart, leader of Stag, on here.
Wow,
Try and give all the major parties, and I qualify major as you've held a public office this year. On here, so and I would say UNC, but I don't know how much Killian likes doing the voice stuff. In fact, I don't think I've ever heard of Killian's voice, and I've known him for like 10 years. So
I was in him in a couple of voice chats. So
have you? Okay. Well,
maybe.
either way,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask him. That way, none of the parties feel that that way all the parties have a chance to get on here and put their message out onto the radio waves of YouTube. All right. So with that, wrapped up. Without further ado, from BBC News. So long and good night.
Good night.